the same Nigeria wey be say they just choose their president now. They just use their hand, they choose am because now something wey person buy for market now they carry they go as. Una don't use una own time and resources to take support Emilio corner abi. Right now, they say the insecurity will be say conde for some part of that Nigeria, not be here. And how they say they buy people, what did they call it? They say they be bandits. And at this point of this point of time, I was hoping that this man would be concentrating on how to deal with those things, those challenges that Nigeria will be having, because he promised Nigerians that he was going to do something about it. But unfortunately, the thing just got increased. Guys, you should take a look and how touching it is. It is really a heartbreaking situation.
Kind of nobody will be somebody who will be able to live peacefully in a gainful, productive employment.
Then, the governor of Bayelsa State, Doyo Diri, unveiled a new transport scheme of 100 taxi cabs and 6 luxury buses on Wednesday in a bid to alleviate the suffering of commuters in the state as a result of the full subsidy removal. The governor, at the unveiling ceremony, said the initiative was his administration's palliative to boost the transportation sector.
By virtue of the new policies that has led to the increase in transportation fares, and by the multiplier effect and by implication, increase in the prices of foods, stuffs and every other thing.
In Kenya, 2 people were killed on Wednesday in clashes between police and protesters in the city of Kisumu. Tear gas was also fired in the capital Nairobi and the coastal city of Mombasa at those protesting over the high cost of living in the wake of tax hikes introduced last month by President William Ruto. Schools in the country's 2 main cities and many businesses have remained closed as a 3-day opposition protest kicked off, with demonstrators confronting the police. Last week, at least 14 people died in protests. 10 were shot dead by police. Under sports, members of the Afghanistan national women's soccer team evacuated to Australia when the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 2021 attended the public training session of Morocco's Atlas Lionesses on Wednesday. Morocco is making its Women's World Cup debut and is the first Arab nation to qualify for the tournament. The exiled Afghan players hope that the Atlas Lionesses' participation in the World Cup tournament will help further build the case that Muslim women belong in the sport. Finally, on our entertainment.
Well, let's begin what's trending. As the pump price of petrol continues to surge across the country, causing more uncertainty in many Nigerian households, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, on Tuesday announced that salaries of workers in the public sector will be reviewed as a way of cushioning the effect of petrol subsidy removal. Well, the Senate President made the announcement when he hosted the governor of Ekiti State, Abiodun Oyebanji, at his office in Abuja. Akpabio also stated that the country would not have survived the next few years if subsidy was still in place.
With the stoppage of the fuel subsidy, imagine, look at the cooperation of Nigerians. Even Nigerians were tired of the fuel subsidy. I'm the one telling you, they were tired of the fuel subsidy. And they are prepared, they say, yes, so long as we have fuel to buy, it doesn't matter the amount, so long as government can also think of how to bring up policies that will reduce the suffering that people are passing through. I know a lot of things are in the offing. I will not say that, but I know that even the issue of salaries and wages will have to be reviewed in order to make sure that Nigerians have a living wage. And you know, what I mean by living wage is a wage that can feed your families and also have something left for the education of your children.
Okay, this is refreshing to hear, but I mean, I don't know how many Nigerians will agree with him at this point now with no palliative in place. We want some sort of subsidy. Well, this was as the director of media and publicity of the defunct Tinubu Shetima campaign organization, Bayo Ononuga, in a tweet, called on Nigerians to be patient with the Tinubu administration Ononuga admitted that everyone, including those in the All Progressives Congress, are all feeling the heat arising from the petrol subsidy removal. Well, let's take his tweet. He says, "In this season of high fuel price, I want to plead with our people to exercise some patience. We are all jointly experiencing the pain. All those intemperate attacks against the new government of President Bola Tinubu should stop. Let's await the palliatives as his government has promised. Let's await the palliatives that will flow from each state as more money is channeled to them from the subsidy savings. We cannot go back to the hyper-fraudulent subsidy regime where we were spending more money on petrol than on roads, education, and health." Well, I mean, by Ononuga, I don't know if it's everyone that is feeling the heat. Or I mean, he kept on begging everybody. I mean,
it's not everyone.
I don't understand.
They are not feeling the heat. They are not. It's obvious.
Wait, okay. In the meantime, let me tell you what happened yesterday. Trekkathon was trending yesterday after a video showing more people than cars on major roads around the Ikeja area of Lagos State began circulating. I mean, look at this. Have you seen this thing happen before? I mean, this is a computer village in Ikeja. Rufai.
Please, Mr. Bayo Ononuga should not come and tell us anything. They are not feeling the heat. For what I know, lawmakers got free 70 billion. They are not feeling the heat. They should speak for themselves. So why is Mr. Bayo Ononuga begging Nigerians now? No, he should not beg Nigerians. Please, he should leave Nigerians alone. They plunged Nigerians into this. The APC plunged Nigerians into this because of their terrible planning. I asked Professor Kila a very technical question this morning. I said, do you see rigor in the thinking of government? He said, no rigor. You know what that means? That's an indictment on government. You remove subsidy, no planning. There's no rigor. Even the 8,000 you announced, when people showed you how funny your thoughts were, you have to bring it back and say you are reviewing. Till date, they've not finished reviewing. The meetings you ought to have with Labour, the meeting have been stopped. Labour is upset. Everybody is upset. Now you are saying you are begging. What are you begging? You say you are going to hit the ground running. Hit it running. What we expected President Tinubu, and I keep saying, to have done is, if you knew you were going to remove subsidy of your inauguration speech, once you won the election, you will have started planning for it. At least have a template document. If I at least had that and you put it forward, now you are saying you are meeting with stakeholders. Why didn't you finish the meeting with stakeholders before you remove subsidy? So we've given ideas ad nauseam. But Mr. Bayo Ononuga should not beg. I think Mr. Bayo Ononuga should have begged the Igbos that he said that never should they put mouth in Lagos politics again. And when he said all of those things that people kicked against him, he said he had no apologies. So why is he begging now? Nigerians have a right to ventilate. It's democracy, isn't it? Or do you want an authoritarian government? No, it's democracy. So he should not beg. He has no locus to beg. People are suffering and we want them to give us thinking. But let me give solutions, because we still need to talk solutions and move forward. It is time for President Tinubu to bring out his ministers. Let's even have an economic planning team.
That is it.
Go back to that meeting with NLC so you are able to bring it out. Thirdly, the Senate president that is saying that Nigeria, he doesn't understand what people are going through. And he's not in the space to say they're going to increase salary. He's not government, he's not of the executive arm. So he can just talk for the sake of talking. But Nigerians are faced with all of these challenges. The meeting with Labour should continue in such a way that they should bring out a resolution as regards what will happen to minimum wage. And other plans that they've not been able to effectively implement, they should look at it.
Right.
And Nigerians are waiting. Nigerians want the government to think for solutions.
Right.
Not telling us, beg. No, Mr. Bayo Ononuga should have begged when he said very incriminating things against a specific group of people after the elections, which are also part of the economic heartland in Lagos. And please, part of the solutions too. Where is the train in Lagos?
We talked about that.
No, where is the train? Maybe they said they launched a train there. When is it going to start? At least maybe if that one starts, it will cushion the effect in Lagos.
We talked about that. But you know that, Rufai, the president met with Vice President Kashim Shettima and Senate President Godswill Akpabio and some, other state governors as part of efforts to discuss the, continued palliative conversations. Governor of Lagos State was in attendance, Imo State Governor, as well as, Dakpo Abiodun. Before I ask that question, what are these state governors doing? This is what they should be talking about when I hope this is what they talked about when they met with the president, especially in Lagos. We live in Lagos. What's happening? What's happening with the train? Before I ask that question.
Thank you. I mean, in the earlier stories, you had highlighted that the governor of Bayelsa State had also provided a bus palliative. On the show, we talked about the governor of Borno State as well, who have, in their own way, responded at least immediately to the needs of their people. But there's a deafening silence from Lagos State, which is the commercial capital of the country, where they have their internally generated revenue is the highest in the country. Why is Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu not saying anything? We saw the computer village videos. This has hit Lagosians and hit businesses in Lagos State, which is responsible for the taxes that the government looks to help to show up IGR. Why is the governor not saying anything? So it's one thing to go to Abuja to have meetings, which is good. We hope that the president would engage with, subnationals. But beyond that, the states can do something. It's often been said that there's so much attention on the federal, on the center, that we ignore the chief executive of state and what they are doing in terms of palliatives. Has he met with business owners? Has he felt the pulses of SMEs in Lagos State? Does he understand the reality and the sufferings of the people in Lagos State? And what is his immediate response? He doesn't have to wait for the president before he acts.
Absolutely. Dr. Bati.